Q&A. My name is Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and behavior consultant from Utah. And I'm excited to be here and answer all of your dog training questions. If this is your first time jumping on, or if you haven't been on for a while, please put your name in the chat and where you're from, either state or country, so I can enter you into the live drawing. On my end, it just comes up Facebook user. So if you want to have your name entered for the drawing, then please put your name and where you're from. So doing this a little bit earlier tonight for those East Coast people. So it's 5 o'clock my time. Usually while people are jumping on, I like to try and start with a case study or something just to get everybody thinking. And I'm trying to think of something that I've done in the past week that we could use as a case study. Also, when we do case studies and I ask questions, if you give me a good answer, I enter you into the name, or I enter your name into the drawing. So you get more entries in. So hopefully we have some people show up tonight. Let me make sure that I got the right time. I'm pretty sure I said 5. Yeah, 5 o'clock. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Kyra, hello. I always love it when the first person jumps on because then I know everything's working. Kyra, where are you from? And is this your first time? And thirdly, do you have any training questions? While you're giving me your location, oh, Arkansas, well, welcome. This is your first time. Awesome. So I will enter you. I had somebody message me today asking what time we were going to do this. So hopefully we'll have a few new people today. Hi, Kirsten. I'm trying to. Oh, we have 2 people from Arkansas. You guys are both from Arkansas. That's awesome. Do you 2 know each other? I mean, I'm sure Arkansas is a big state, but you never know. You might know each other. Okay, I'm going to look back at my week and see if I can come up with a good case study for you guys while we're waiting for people to jump on. Unless you guys have questions, I don't answer questions. Let's see. This one might be a good one. Let's see if I have anything else that is better. Hi, Brian. So, Brian, this morning I got up. I'm not a morning person, but I did get up at 6, and we've been having kind of a heat wave here. It's been so hot. So 2 of my friends and I got up at 6 o'clock and went kayaking before it got too hot. And one of my friends says, if you could live anywhere, where would you live? And I said, it's a toss-up between Alaska, Montana, and Idaho. Some parts of Idaho I really like. So yeah, Montana was up there. I love Utah. I've lived here all my life, but it's starting to get too crowded and so many people are moving in. This used to be a really rural place where I live, which is why I moved up here. But it seems like all the farmers are dying or retiring and selling their land. And so everybody's building houses, and it's just not. I mean, when I moved here, we did not even have a traffic light. And now we have two. So, yeah, it's. And I like small towns where I can just kind of melt into the backdrop. Okay, let's use. Trying to find a good one for. Okay, so we have a dog. This is just to get you thinking. I worked with a dog this week that where they live, it used to be mountainous, and now they've started to put homes up there. So they're basically developing this area. But they live out in an area where there's still, you can see deer. You might see a mountain lion. You see lots of rabbits, stuff like that. So they have a dog that likes to look out the balcony, and actually one time tried to jump over the balcony, which would have been really bad because it's a very tall, if they're up there at least 200 feet. So so when I went over there, they also have a golf course. So the dog gets super hyper focused on the golfers playing or the deer that you'll see like on a daily basis. And so they kind of wanted to curb that. So what are some things that you can think of that you could do to, and there's really no right or wrong answer, but it's just kind of getting you thinking. What are some things that you could do to help with cutting down on the reactivity or changing it, so to speak? And then while you're thinking, I'm going to answer this. Ariana, if you want to tell me where you're from, I'll enter you into the drawing. So my dog doesn't enjoy being pet by people he doesn't know well. Is there a way to help him become more comfortable with petting, or should I focus on preventing others from petting him? That is a great question. So I'm going to answer that. Washington, awesome. And I think you're new here tonight too, right? This is your first time? Hopefully you guys will come back that are just here. I love my weekly regulars, but it's always nice to have new people. Okay, so I am a big proponent of giving dogs their agency. Being the type of person that I'm a little bit more introverted, and I'm not a touchy-feely type of person. And so I don't enjoy people that I don't know touching me or trying to hug me or play with my hair or something like that. And some dogs are super social and think that every dog and every person should just love them, and that's great. But if you have a dog that's a little bit more reserved, or maybe doesn't enjoy being pet by people he doesn't know, you can counter condition it. Like you can pair petting with something that the dog loves to change your dog's emotional response. And I'll explain how to do that. But if your dog like really doesn't enjoy it, I mean, okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say that my mom says, I'll give you $100 every time you let a stranger hug you. Well, I might do it for the $100, but I wouldn't enjoy it. And it's not likely that I'm ever gonna like learn to enjoy it, but I'll do it for the $100. Does that make sense? So if your dog really doesn't enjoy it, and it kind of depends on why. Is it like a fear thing? Is it just that during COVID, your dog didn't get out a lot to meet a lot of strangers? I see a lot of that right now. So there could be some different reasons. If it's a fear thing, like I would allow him to choose not to have people pet him. So one thing that you can do, and yes, for now I would focus on preventing others from petting him, especially if he's really uncomfortable. So I had to test. I'm an evaluator for a therapy dog program, and one of the things that the dog has to do is let a stranger pet them, because therapy dogs are going to go into hospitals, schools, rest homes, and especially in schools, kids love to handle and hug dogs. Well, I went to pet the dog, and the dog went behind his owner's back, and the owner was trying to get the dog out so that I could pet him. And I said, don't force him. If he doesn't enjoy meeting strangers and being handled and pet by them, why are you trying to make this dog a therapy dog? Like, I get that you want to do that and go visit, and it is a very good service, and I've done it with some of my dogs. But if you have a dog that really doesn't enjoy it, like, who are you doing it for? Not you, but I'm speaking generally. So for people that want to do that, but they have a dog, hey, Nicole, you moved. So if you have a dog that doesn't really enjoy it, like, are you doing it for the dog, or are you doing it for you? So in some cases, I would say, like, if your dog, I know, but I'm jealous that you're on vacation in Colorado Springs. So anyway, going back to this one, I actually, for this test, they have to greet people. They have to let a crowd of people try to pet them, and they have to allow somebody to hug them. And this dog failed all three, so I had to fail him. And the poor woman was devastated. But, I said, if your dog doesn't enjoy meeting strangers and doing this, like, why are you trying to make her a therapy dog? And I said, I don't ever force a dog to meet people. One thing that you can do is, if people come up and say, oh, can I pet your dog? You can say, he's in training right now. And just say, no, I'm sorry, he's in training. And that's all you need to say. You don't even have to go into any more detail. But I have people all the time. I have a service dog in training. So people will come up all the time and ask if they can pet her, because she is cute. She's a little pit mix with huge ears. And so I do allow people to pet her, mainly because I want to advocate for the pit bull breed and let people see that they're not, vicious. And I'm trying to teach her not to jump on people. So I say, as long as she's standing on all fours and sitting, you're welcome to pet her. But you can just say, I'm sorry, he's in training. Now, if you wanted to change that, one thing that you could do is ask strangers to toss your dog treats. So from a distance, you can have them toss treats. And after they've tossed treats, and you said that it was because of timidness and anxiety. So I usually have people toss treats behind. So the dog learns that they are allowed to back away, and then um, they'll come just close enough that they're comfortable, and then you can throw a treat behind them, let them move away, come back, and then eventually, when it looks like your dog's a little bit more comfortable, you can hold out your hand or have them hold out their hand with a treat and see if your dog chooses to go get the treat or not out of their hand. If your dog doesn't want to go get the treat, don't make them. Then just ask them to throw treats again. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow the dog to start to make an association like, oh, well, strangers equal treats. So yeah, I can handle strangers because I get treats. But again, it might be like that $100 bill. Yes, I will do it for the money, but I might not like it. So that's why I'll say, well, just toss treats, and don't try to pet. Then if the dog, hey, Renee, if the dog does choose to go take the treat out of their hand, they can slowly start to pet like under the chin, because they're going to offer the treat if the dog goes and takes the treat. So let's use my little guy here. So if he goes to take the treats, I'm going to just lightly, and this is what I do when I go in anybody's home that has a shy, timid dog that is scared. So I just start to pet under their chin, and then if the dog backs away, I stop trying to pet them. And then if they stay there, then they're okay. But I always want to allow the dog the ability to back away if they want to. So that was probably a really long answer, but hopefully that gave you some ideas. So yeah, I wouldn't make your dog. We can't make him like it, but we can try to change his emotional response. And then while you're working on it, I would just ask people to toss treats, but not try to pet, and then slowly pet him. So I work with a lot of dogs that have like fear, aggressive behaviors, and they've actually bitten people. And when a dog bites somebody, they're usually giving another kind of warning, like a lip curl or a growl or a bite or something like that. And if the warning is not heeded, then the dog has to go to a bite. And so the last thing I want to do when I go into a home is push a dog to the point that they feel like they have to bite me. So I just toss treats, and I don't try to pet them. I don't expect them to let me pet them. We just do treats. Eventually, most of them come and take treats out of my hand, and then I start to pet them under the chin, and that's as far as I go. Sometimes, depending on the dog, after they're like, if they're like then right there wagging their tail and they're like calm at this point, then I will slowly like work my hand around the side and then the back. I don't reach over them because to a dog that's really scary. So people that are like reaching over or bending over their dog, if you think about most humans, let's say that a 10-foot tall person came and like towered over us, we might be scared and be like, oh my gosh, what is that? So it's the same with a dog. So I always tell people to pet under the chin, don't try to reach over, but always allow your dog to have agency to back away and say, nope, I'm not having this, and that's totally fine. So that's a great question, and I actually have a lot of clients with dogs that we're working with right now that have that like same kind of thing. So Ariana, the other thing is, depending on how severe it is, you can, like while you're working through this, you could ask your vet for some anti-anxiety medicine, and sometimes medication can really help. It's kind of the same with people. So, yeah, Nicole just put she can attest the treat tossing works well. Um, but medication can sometimes just lower their anxiety level and it makes learning easier and quicker, versus a dog that's not on medication. And again, it would depend on how severe it was. Um, but yeah, sometimes working through a protocol like this will um, require medication. And usually I can tell after meeting a dog for the first time. I say, I think your dog could really benefit from medication. Let's, send you to your vet. Um, some people really don't want to medicate their dog, and I just tell them, that's totally fine. It's up to you, but it might take longer, and that's kind of the way it goes. But when people say, "Oh, my dog's already on medication," I actually love that because that means they're open to it. And then I send them back to their vet and maybe tweak the dosage, stuff like that. So, yeah, you can try that if you want. So yeah, Nicole said she has to have men do that at times with Wilma. Many men she would go up to, but you could tell she was scared. Have them toss treats, and before long, she will wag her tail and look happy to see them. Yeah, that's perfect. Um, I'll tell you, I'll use me as a bad example. When I adopted Hallie, who was one of the dogs rescued from the Michael Vick dogfighting bust, I was not a trainer at the time. She's actually the reason that I got into training, but I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I knew that she was afraid of people and especially men. So every time somebody would come over, um, I would pick her up and put her in their lap and let her see that everything was fine. They weren't gonna hurt her. And all I did, like now I'm mortified that I did that. I can't believe I did that, but I didn't know any better. Um, what I did was shut her down. So she would just shut down out of fear. And I am really lucky that she didn't bite anybody. Um, and so once I started working with a trainer, then I learned that there is a much better way of doing this, which is then what I would do with the tossing treats and things like that. So, yeah, if people, and I'll just speak generally now, if somebody comes up, I, you got to love the people. Oh, Willow, good job. Pupford Lifetime Academy. Nice. So you gotta love the people that come up and say, "Oh, dogs love me. I'm the dog whisperer," and they go up and try to pet a dog, and then the dog snaps at them or bites them, um, and so it's really hard when some people like swear that they're a pet professional and they push your dog like too hard, too fast. Um, So, oh, Nicole, I love that you're telling on yourself too. I don't feel so bad. I did that to Wilma when she was a puppy to my dad and feel awful. She was my first puppy, so I didn't know. Yeah. And, I always tell people, and I learned this from a really good trainer friend of mine, you do the best with the information you have. So you do the best with what you know. And back then, I didn't know anything. And so I thought I was showing her that people weren't going to hurt her by picking her up and putting her on people's laps. And luckily, when she was scared, she just shut down rather than biting because that could have been really bad. Um, but yeah, then we went to the tossing treats and stuff like that. She eventually got to the point where when people would come over, she would go sit next to them on the couch and paw at them because she wanted them to pet her. So she'd be like, "Pet me, pet me, pet me," and so that was huge. I mean, that took several years for her to get to that point where people could come over and she would go sit next to them and want them to pet her. So yes, it can be done. Depending on how severe it is, it could take a while. So, okay, I know I missed some, so let me go back. Okay. Polly Beagle weighed in at 30 pounds today. She will be 10 months old on the 11th. Should I now transition her to adult dog food? I would ask your vet. I'm not sure at what age they transition them. I mean, you're probably fine if you do. Well, let's see. I started fostering Willie when he was 8 months old, and he was on puppy food. And then since I have 2 other dogs, I think by the time he was about a year old, when he was a year, I switched him over to adult food. But since I'm not an expert on food, I would ask your vet just to be safe. And you could probably even just call them and see, what they say. But you'd probably be safe. And if she had a nail trim with a tech, that's awesome. I do my own nail trims with my dogs, but I give them a lick mat. So this actually I was using with a client yesterday, so it happens to be on my desk. But I love these. This I will put baby food, peanut butter, something on this, and then I will let my dogs lick it, and then I can hurry and clip their nails. But if you're not comfortable clipping nails, because you do have to watch out for the quick, then yeah, let a tech do it. But if there's stuff that you want to do at home, and if you ever have to do ear meds or anything like that, lick mats are great because it kind of keeps them focused on something else and they're not so concerned about what you're doing. So Willow, I'm so excited for you. That's awesome. And I think Petsmart is a great idea. I know I have some friends that are trainers, and that's where they got their start, was working at Petco, and being a trainer through Petco. And I think that Petco even has their own training program that they will put you through if you want to be a trainer. I worked with a guy at the rescue, the rescue that I worked at, and he wanted to be a trainer, so he kind of started shadowing and stuff like that, and he ended up getting hired on at Petco, went through their training program, and he's a trainer now, training full-time for Petco, Petsmart. So yeah. I'm more familiar with Petco because that's what we have up where I live, but I'm sure Petsmart would be the same. But yeah, that's awesome. Congrats. Okay, Daisy the small dog keeps pottying in the house. How old is Daisy? Remind me. Because it could be sometimes when a dog reaches kind of their adolescent teenage, sometimes they can kind of regress a little bit with potty training. There's a lot of factors that can go into it. Like if she's having lots of accidents, I would take her in and make sure she doesn't have a UTI, because that can definitely make a dog have accidents. So there's that. Is there anything in the house that's stressing her? Like new noises, new neighbors, anything that's changed that could be making her more anxious or nervous, that can have an impact. So the other trainer that works with me, she had her dog is he's also on the timid side, but Sorry, I have a dog board and training with me, so I'm kind of supervising their play. He keeps trying to. You guys that know Willy Wonka know that he's not huge. He's got a big head, but he's smaller, and this dog keeps trying to hump his head. So anyway, her dog kept having accidents like on the bed at night. So in the middle of the night, she would have to like change sheets, do stuff like that. We couldn't figure out like what was causing it, but she started doing more enrichment during the day, and it stopped. And I think there were things that were contributing, like she's planning for a wedding. She's getting married next month, so that's stressful. They're trying to get ready for a bridal shower, baby shower. So added stress in the home that could definitely contribute. But she told me the other day that she increased enrichment, and he hasn't had an accident since. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence or what, but yeah, it does. There are a lot of different things. What I usually tell people, if you have a dog that's having accidents, and if you go to the vet and everything checks out, so there's nothing wrong with the dog, then I would go back to crate training or putting your dog in a crate when you can't supervise her, or tethering her to you, and then making sure that you're on a schedule. So take her out first thing in the morning, after meals, after naps. Just take her out more frequently. Reward her for pottying outside so that she doesn't have the chance to have an accident. So you catch it. So right when I can tell kind of when a dog needs to go. I have a dog door, but when dogs stay with me, they don't all know how to use the dog door. So if they're playing and all of a sudden they stop and they start to wander away and sniff, 98% of the time, if I say, oh, let's go potty, they'll go out and go potty. So I try to catch it before it happens. Now, if I'm like right now on a live and I'm somewhat paying attention to the dog, but not totally, there's a good chance he may walk in the living room and have an accident because I missed his signal. But I did take him out right before I jumped on here. So yeah, you can go back to crate training, tethering, and just taking her out more often and see if that fixes it. But I would also make sure that she doesn't have a UTI or something. Today is Wilma's Gotcha Day. We are going to go to a restaurant patio later to eat. Oh, awesome. So back when I got my very first pit bull, I had a birthday party for my dog's Gotcha Day. And I still remember that his was the end of August. So like August 30th or September 1st. It was kind of that weekend. So I had a big party for him. I invited neighbor dogs, and we played games. They all had party hats. They had doggy ice cream, and I gave everybody like treat bags to go home with that had a tennis ball and all these treats. It was ridiculous, but it was so much fun. Oh, I would like to do hers on my own. Yeah, get a lick mat for nail trims. That is like game changer. It's awesome. Renee, I don't think so. Well, so if you make an appointment with a vet just to go in and talk about food, then yes, they probably will charge you for an office visit. If you call and just say, could you have a vet call me? I have a question about food. Or if you ask the front desk and they ask the vet and then call you back, there's probably not going to be a charge. So it depends on how in-depth the consultation is. So yeah, if you like actually make an appointment to go in, they probably will charge you. But going back to the other one, if you call your vet and say, hey, my dog is 10 months old, At what point should we switch them over to adult food? That's something the front desk can just go ask the vet and then tell you there's not going to be a fee for that. I don't feel like there should be. And then the 2 vet clinics that I worked at, we would never charge somebody for that. So Willow, if you're already in training school, they'll still, yeah, they'll still take. So like, if I went over to Petco and said, I'm CCPDT certified, they wouldn't make me go through their school, I don't think. But yeah, they'll probably accept. I'm sure that there's a list of acceptable schools that they will accept. So, Kirsten, does PetSmart sell e-collars? I haven't been in a PetSmart for years because we have Petco in Park City and our PetSmart's down in Salt Lake, and I don't really go down there that much. So yes, I like that Petco has gone more positive reinforcement, and they don't sell e-collars anymore. They don't sell prong collars. They don't sell any of that stuff, which I love. And in fact, one day I had to go in and get, I was going in there looking for pet corrector, but it was for a specific thing. It's just the compressed air that makes a noise. And they looked at me like, oh, I can't believe you would use that. And no, I don't make it a habit of using it. It was for a specific thing. So, yeah, I like that better too. And I honestly don't know if PetSmart, like what they do, because I haven't been in there for a long time. They used to have shirts. What did they say? Something about train with no pain or something like that. It was really cool. I wanted to get shirts that said something like that. I can't remember exactly what their shirt said, but it was something like train without pain, or I can't remember, something to do with positive reinforcement and not using aversives to train, which I thought was great. Oh yeah. So if you have questions about food, if you go in for something else, then you can just like combine it. So you can do that too. I like that Petco is pro pit bull. Yeah, I take my dogs in there a lot, and they're really good. I've had to buy a bully stick or two because my dogs take them from the bottom shelf and help themselves, and so then I buy them. But other than that, yeah, they've been really good. I have my ex-husband took such a cool picture of my dog, my Tacoma, my very first pit bull. He had a ball in his mouth. He was the one that I gave the birthday party to. And so he happened to have a Petco tennis ball in his mouth, right in the side, and you could read the Petco. And I submitted that to Petco to see if they wanted to use it because it was so good. Perfect. And I don't know if they ever did, but I may have to go get my dogs in a second because the neighbor is out mowing the lawn and my dogs are barking. Let's see, Willow, I have a topical for flea, tick, mosquitoes, and worms. Mine isn't, let's see. And then I was just trying to think. You just reminded me. Did I give my dogs their flea and tick medication for September? I'm not sure. It's the 7th. Oh my gosh, isn't that terrible? I have a notice on my calendar, so I'm hoping that I remember, but now you're making me second guess myself. Did I remember to give them their flea and tick medication? I think I did, but oh, it's like time goes by so fast, and all my months run together, so it's hard to know. Um, okay, let's see. Oh, Nicole, I like the Zach George shirt that says communication is greater than domination. I haven't seen that one, but I like that too. Um, so let's see. Oh, yeah, right? Because they want you to buy their $10 bully sticks. I often wondered, for my pen, I often wondered why they would put that down there with all of the dogs that are coming into the store. But that makes perfect sense because they want you to buy them. And you're right, it works because my dogs would always pick them up, and if they picked them up, I would buy them. So, have you ever noticed too when you go to Home Depot that like all the dogs want to sniff the bottom because probably of all the dogs that people take into Home Depot, they always mark along the bottom. So you have all these dogs that have peed on the bottom shelf of everything in Home Depot. So then you come in and your dog wants to mark, and it just becomes a problem. So, do you know how I could get Gertie, my large dog, to play with toys? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, some dogs are just not that toy motivated. Like my dog Maddie, she's not super toy motivated. Willie will chew on toys, and Jade will occasionally chew on things. They don't really play with them per se, but I have more like chew items than anything. Because if I get squeaky toys, things like that, they're done in 5 seconds. You could start with things like a flirt pole. So I was showing this to somebody yesterday, so I happen to have this on my desk. This is the Pupford one. But you could start with something like a flirt pole, so that you get your dog to chase it first, and then grab it, and then kind of engage that way. Oh yes, I'm sure you do want this, but you can't have this right now. We'll play with it later. So you could start with a flirt pole. Other kind of like engaging toys, like I give my dogs cardboard boxes, and I usually have peanut butter or other things inside, and throw in some kibble, broccoli, carrots, peas, fold it up, and then I let them kind of rip it apart and get to what's inside. And then you could transfer that over to, like, I like interactive toys. So then like something like this where there's food inside, so it's going to cause the dog to start like interacting with it to try to get the treats out. That's what I would do. I mean, if some dogs, like I've had a couple clients like, can you teach my dog to play fetch? Well, if the dog really doesn't want to play fetch, and it's not fun for the dog, then why would you do it? But I can see why you would want your dog to play with toys. So Willow, what motivates your dog? Is Gertie like super treat motivated, but not so much toy motivated? I have found that when I go out and actually interact with the dogs and the toys, then I can get them to play with toys. But otherwise, so I could get Jade to go chase a ball, but she wouldn't always bring it back. She would run around with it and then drop it. So I took her to the lake and would throw the ball out in the water, and she would swim out and get it and then bring it back. So that's kind of how I taught her to play fetch. She will do that in the water now, but she won't do it in the yard. So it's just kind of a lake thing, I guess. But yeah, I would try and just see if you can engage. Like if it's a toy, squeak it, hide it, make it come alive. things like that. That's what I would try. Okay, let me go back real quick and see if we have any more questions. Renee, where's your hubby tonight? Let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't skip anybody. Oh, he's outside working. Let's see, if Peyton's not interested in her kibble, I use interactive toys to get her to eat. Yeah, that's a good way too. Especially like if you put something in here really smelly, like hot dogs or cheese or something, they're gonna really try to move it around and get it out to get what's inside. I don't think for this particular one, hot dogs may not come out of it very easy by rolling it around. But yeah, I like the interactive toys, and especially the ones where they have to problem solve and kind of figure out how to get the food to come out. That's really good brain work for them and really good mental enrichment for them. So yeah, you could try something like that as well. Okay, any other questions? If not, we will do a drawing. I may have to change this to Thursday nights. How many of you guys could come if I did Thursday nights? Only because there's a class I really want to take, and it's on Wednesday nights at 7. So I could do Wednesdays, but I'd have to do it the earlier time, and that doesn't help the Pacific time people. So if I changed it to Thursday, is there anybody that would be totally out for them? Because I want to keep everybody coming. So I'm just kind of toying with that idea. Oh, Thursday's fine? Okay. What about the rest of you? I may do, oh good, okay, works for Nicole. I mean, I used to rotate them. I used to do Wednesday sometimes, Thursday sometimes. Yeah, it looks like Thursday will work. Okay, so starting next week, I may do a Thursday night. The other problem is I may have to start doing puppy classes on Thursday night, which means then I'll move the lives back to Wednesday and just not go to class. But I would like to go to class if I can. Okay, let's do a drawing. And then Renee, you can go help your husband with the hot tub. Except right now, we have had a heat wave, so I cannot even imagine being in a hot tub. I did go kayaking this morning. I can tell my face is sunburned. Okay, tonight's winner, Ariana Huffmeyer from Washington. So, Ariana, what you're going to do is email hello@pupford.com. I just put it in the chat. Oh, hey, Julie. We're just winding up, but glad you joined us. So, Ariana, you're gonna email hello@pupford.com and let them know that you're the winner, and I will email them as well, and you can let them know what kind of training treats you want. So there's the rabbit, salmon, beef liver, chicken, sweet potato, and I think they have some new ones out that I haven't tried yet. So I think there's a blueberry. There's some new ones out, so you could try a new one. Renee, they're getting, well, I wish they would get cool. They were getting cool, and then we've had this heat wave where it's just been brutal. And I was outside yesterday for like 10 minutes and had to come in. It's so hot. I actually, last night when I came in, I was so nauseous. I thought I was getting sick. And then one of my other friends said that she was sick, that it was from like heat stroke or from like heat exhaustion. And I thought, oh, that's probably why I was nauseous, because I was out in the sun. So yeah, I'm ready for it to start getting cool now, because I like it better than this heat. So okay, well, thanks for joining. You new people that were here for the first time, I hope you'll come back. Bring your questions, whatever you want to talk about. I'll try to come up with some better case studies. I should have some good ones coming up. So yeah. So enjoy the rest of your week and weekend, and I'll see you guys next week, probably on Thursday. It'll probably be Thursday at 6. So we will plan on that. Okay, thanks, guys.